Hey, what's good, y'all? My name's Captain, and this is Soldier of Christ. Today, the story I'm going to tell you is about a young man. He was small, thin, light-skinned, fade. He was what we consider in the penitentiary a crash dummy. And this young man, I was young. I told you guys in a previous story that I started off inside of a dorm where they house DOC members on the bottom and people that are there for fights and violence and drugs up on the top. Well, this young man, he was also on the bottom. He was also in the waiting to transfer the rooms on the very bottom. And this young man would always come out. Like, I didn't, at that time I was clueless. I didn't understand why they had him by himself. I figured, maybe he's just, I don't know. I didn't know what to know. I didn't know what to think, to be honest. But what I noticed was, see, when you come out for this type of wreck, depending on if you're there for if you're PC'd and you're there under protective custody, then I guess you're there solo. Well, not I guess, I know you were there solo. They didn't let you around people. They put you out on your own tier time. And this young cat kept going out, and like I said, his name was Cartoon. He kept going out, and every single time he'd go out, he was a real loud person. He'd go out there and stand on seat. There's big round metal tables with 4 seats on them that are circle. And the way the setup was is, if you were to walk forward and out of my room to the right, he was 2 doors down to my right, and to the right of him was 1 door down to the right, and then the telephone, which was a pod phone that people used whenever you were on your tier time. So one day, at this time, I had just moved away from a couple of my older roommates. They had moved forward into the penitentiary, and they had moved some new people into my cell. I was still very young. I was still learning the ropes. And I'll say one of the guys who moved in with me, his name was Magic. He was a super man, dude. He was so good at kickboxing, you would never believe it. He's like 6'2", really thin, and this man just had hands that was like, oh my god, this boy could fight. Anyhow, he was also he was really well known around the system. The system is a penitentiary, if you guys don't know what I'm talking about. And Magic was just very quiet. He was very patient. He was, but he was very into respect. And one day, he's at the door. Everything opened up early and started a tier time. And so sure enough, like I said, there was 1 room before that Vato Cartoons room. And I don't know if they skipped rec. I don't know what happened, or maybe they were at court, or I don't know exactly where they were. But sure enough, here, and the doors open like this. They shut like this and they open like that. And so I hear that, and sure enough, like I told you, Cartoon was loud. So if he comes out, you know that he's loud, so he's gonna be loud. He's out there. He comes down and right away starts with his little homies or whoever. Like, I don't even know if they were his homies. I know that the people laughed at him because he was a clown, but he come out, hey, what's up? Standing on the table, and like told you, the table's round, four chairs, 1, 2, 3, 4, and one of them happened to be in front of our door, about let's say 7 feet away from our door, not too far at all. And he's standing on there and making all this noise. It was early in the morning. Like I said, it was the first tier time of the day. And he goes out and he's making all this noise, and Magic is right there at the door. I'm getting all like, what's going on, brother? Like, what's up, Bessie? So nah. He looks back at him. He's all, this clown's out there. He's all, you know how that is. And he, Magic was sitting there drinking his coffee. Because that's the thing. If you've ever been to jail or prison, that coffee is what everybody turns to. Well, majority of everybody turns to coffee. Coffee and exercise. And he was standing there, he was drinking his coffee, and he was pacing, a lot. That's all you have to do inside your cell, is a lot of pacing, reading, conversing with whomever's in your cell or through the vent. Especially when you're inside of a segregation like that. So, Magic was talking to me, and he was just telling me, a story which I'll tell in the future about one of his partners who ended up dying in prison, and he was still getting to know me. You know, we were fresh to each other, but me and Magic ended up becoming super super tight. And he was like, yeah, and then so he puts up a he puts up a thing. He gets his bed, and like there's this. I said this is the bedpost. He wrapped around it his bed and tied it with the sheet. And like I said, this man was a super trained professional kickboxer. He was amazing, and he started doing his side kicks, and you could just hear it like boy, oh my god, and I don't know what cartoon was doing, but it was something that I told you guys in another story, is you're never supposed to walk up and just look in a man's cell. That's one of the most disrespectful things you could do. And I was sitting there reading, and I was letting Magic do his things. I was giving him the floor, because the floors are really small. They're really built for like 2 people, one really, but they put 3 in there sometimes, just depending on what it is, sometimes 3, 2. But for our room at this point, I think it was still me and Magic. And this vato, he comes up and he looks in our room, and he turns, and it was called mule kicked our door. Like turned, put his back to our door, to his face, looked in, turned around toward his face another way, and started kicking backwards, like boom, boom. And I hopped up, and I dropped the book. I hopped up. Magic turns around. Magic goes to the door. Magic's real tall. He's real tall and thin. He looks like he could be native, but he's Chicano. He's Mexican. And he's like, "What's up?" I said, like, what's going on? And he's like, "Hey, you guys have some respect." He's like, "Why don't you guys have some respect? There's people still asleep in the pod, and you're over here kicking that thing." And Magic was like, "Move on, clown. Get away from my door, bro. Like, get away from my door. You're making a scene, and like, bro, you're out here yelling on the tier and getting and standing on the tier and stomping on it and laughing and running around, and bro, I don't want to hear any of that from you. Get away from my door, bro." And he gets back to what he was doing, and I get up and I'm looking, and I see Cartoon start walking towards the chemicals and where the mop bucket's at, and all this, right? So he goes in there, and Magic asks, "What is he doing? What's that clown doing?" I said, "Nah, he just walked over to the chemical." I said, "I don't know." I said, "He's probably just tripping out. You know how that Vato is. He's a psych med kid. He does a lot of dumb things." And so he turns around and tells me, he's like, "Yeah, stuff like that will get a person." Because I was still young, learning the prison system, and I hadn't even been to prison yet. I was still waiting to go for my first time. And he tells me, "Yeah, stuff like that will get you in trouble, brother. Stuff like that will get you hurt. So learn from that kid. Don't be like him." And I was like, "Yeah, you're right. Yeah." And I was just taking my clutch, taking my school, and that's what we call school. Whenever they teach you things, whenever people who are convicts and they teach you things, it's called clutch. That's your school. They're trying to make you better so that you can live your life in prison easier. And so I look, and all of a sudden I see Cartoon doing something, and I'm like, "What's this dude doing?" It looked like he was taking a piss inside of the mop closet. I was like, "What's this Vato doing?" And I noticed he was taking a piss in the mop bucket. He was taking a piss in it. And then he landed up feeling what I told Magic. I said, "Hey, this Vato's pissing inside of the mop bucket, bro." I said, "It's sick. He's disgusting. That's so gross." And if there's anything that you know about them types of situations, people make bombs, different style of bombs, different ways to get at people to contaminate their cells without physically having to touch them. That's what a lot of cowards do. That's how they handle business, because they're too scared to handle it one-on-one, face-to-face, whenever people finally get free from SAG. So he adds water, and I see him keep looking back towards our cell. And finally I was like, because like I told you, Magic was in the back of the room. He was kicking that thing and exercising and doing his, just his martial arts style exercise. And I told Magic, "Hey, I said, watch out." I said, "This Vato's pissed in that thing." I said, he pushed the cart. I said, "It looks like he's making his way this way." And so I hear the mop bucket, and the mop bucket was from here. If our rooms were to the right, it was to the left of us, about 6 rooms down, right next to the shower. Excuse me. And so you hear it coming, and then all of a sudden you see that about the cartoon once again walk up to our door and look in, and you see, he tells Magic something, tells him, because he looked, I'm short, I'm like 5'3", so he looks over me and he tells Magic something along the lines of, oh, you think you're hard with all that kicked in the bed stuff. You ain't about shit, you ain't about anything, all that's just to scare people. If we were out here, that type of thing, if we were out here, I'd beat the fuck out of you, this is that and the next. And I was like, and I looked back at Magic, and Magic right away came, and he like asked me to scoot over, like politely touched me to like move, or like on my shoulder, like on my arm. So I stepped out the way, and he tells him straight up. He tells him, you know what? He says, you're a coward, you're a punk, you ain't gonna last long. You get away from my door, man. This cat turns around, walks away, came back to our door with the mop bucket, dumped the mop bucket down and under our door to where all the piss water went under our door. Like, went under our door. Why would you do that? And sure enough, like, I don't know what else you put in there, but you could smell, like, it wasn't good. So he does that, and sure enough, Magic hops back right away. He runs to the back of the towel, and the way you mop your floor for a lot of people is you use your towel, or when people flood, you like push your towel, roll it, and you put it down, and you push it towards the door side, it goes right back onto the thing. Well, this dude dumped a lot of water under the thing, so start soaking up the towels. I hop up, I grab my towel, and this is our body towel. This is like whenever you get your clothing for fresh clothing, like once a week, you get a towel, and you get only one, and then you get like oranges and stuff like that. And this guy, so we had to get what we had to roll it up and start pushing it out and under the door. And that was all we had. That was the most disrespectful thing you could do to somebody. So we do a roll, and that was out there laughing. He's out there laughing, He's out there like, yeah, I got these fuckers, I got this punk, thinking he's tough. He was all, but I got him. He's a bitch ass dude, thinking he hard. That's why his homie died. And this is that and the next. And so Magic looks at the vato, cleaned the room the best I could, and now Magic is pissed. I'm pissed, but Magic is beyond mad. He's all, hey, he starts, because the CO seen kind of what happened. So I need to clean my room, open my door, it's banging. And they're not supposed to open our doors, like I said. This dude was like protective custody or something. He was always on the tier by himself. So he's like, hey, open my door. There's all kinds of stuff all over my floor, and I can't get it, and I need to clean my room. My floor's flooded. So the CO took forever. To finally open our door, to allow us to do that. But we had to make a scene, we had to make a scene, and we landed up, we knew, well, not we, Magic knew one of the officers. He was a captain of STG, Security Threat Group. They're the ones that are like over the gangs that. But this guy was, let me tell you, he was not a good officer. He was really, 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 like, you could pay him to do anything. And this dude, Cartoon, had killed I found out he had killed this guy's niece in a trailer up in Albuquerque in New Mexico, and put her under a bed, and then try to inside a trailer, aped her, you know what I mean, and did that type of stuff, and left her dead inside of the thing. So that was why the dude had came. He had came, and we'll just say Romo. We'll say his name's Romo. And so he comes, and Romo comes and talks, and we're still making a scene, and like, he's the reason how we got the door popped to clean. So he's like, hey, what happened? What's going on with y'all? Like, what happened? And Magic tells him, he's like, yeah, he's all no vale, no vale. And this no good clown next door over here, a couple sides down, dump piss water under our thing. What's up? Beth said, what's it going to cost to make a move on him, get something happening. So he's like, well, that's actually why I came down here. I came down here because I found out that so-and-so is here, and he just got convicted of aping my niece, and kind of broke down the story of what had happened, how they found her, just like I explained to you guys. And he was like, let this other officer leave. He's all, and the cameras, the way they go is they go like that. And they go up, down, side, and the picket is like down right under the camera, where the officer has the power to open up doors through the picket. It's called a picket. Where there's two panel doors. You open, there's buttons all over it to open the cells for the top and the bottom tier. And he was like, yeah, he's all, let this other officer go on his lunch or whatever. He was all, I'll see what I could do. So sure enough, the other officer leaves, and Romo's like, hey, he's all, everybody locked down, whoever's here was, everybody locked down. So every time we rose, everybody locked down. So he locked him down, and then he pops our cell. He's like, go and get your stuff, go and get what you need. I'll get you guys fresh linen to clean that. He's all, go and get y'all's stuff ready for your shower, get ready for all your stuff. He's all, clean your room, and then we'll go from there. So all of a sudden, I get my stuff. I go to the shower. I walk over there. Everyone's asking, what happened? What's going on? What about the video's room? And I said I was still new, so I didn't really. They were really talking to Magic more than me. I was more to myself. And he's kind of like blowing it off. He's pissed. You can tell he's pissed. And he walks over there, and I walk to the shower. He walks over. He doesn't take a shower at all. He walks over there to the picket, and he's talking to Romo, and he says something. And the next thing you know, I don't know what he told him, but he walks over to me, and he's all, take your shower, brother. He's all, take your shower. He's all, whatever you do, don't get involved in what's about to happen. And he was saying it like in a respectful way, but he was like, don't get involved. This is me and him. If you get involved, I might not be able to help if I lose in. Like, not realize that you're one of my partners. Like, you're one of my partners, and I don't want to accidentally it was him telling me that he didn't want to actually, that he don't want to accidentally put hands on me or something like that. So I take my shower, I get out. You got flip flops. You get flip flops. They go. You got to hit them on the floor. Pop, pop, pop. To get off the water. Pop, pop. So I take off. So I'm holding onto the thing. I'm hitting my thing. I'm drying my feet. I get off and I start walking to my room. I turn and I'm walking back to my room. And sure enough, I see Magic talking to Romo, and look over there at Cartoon's cell. I don't know if Cartoon was there or if he wasn't there, but he said something. And then whatever Romo did, if you on that speaker, you could press it, you pick up a phone, and you could say something into the cell. So I don't know. So he's locked down. Now the doors click and lock, and it locks. Once you shut it, it springs a thing into your door, and that's what seals it so it can't move. Well, he didn't seal our door like that. He left his workers. He let Magic put the door shut and up in the edge to keep it holding so it doesn't swing open, so it doesn't put a toothbrush off in it in the edge to keep it firm, so you just pull it and the door will fly open. So he does that, and he told that about the Cartoon. Romo tells Cartoon, I get something, I'm assuming, hey, you got a visit or a lawyer visit or whatever. So that Vato comes out in his flip-flops, carried this with his little one-piece button-up suit that says high risk, and he comes out, and all of a sudden, you see Magic pull the end, the door swung open. He made sure that Cartoon was far enough away from his cell to where he could not make it back to his cell running. There was no way. Magic was too fast, and he was too close to him. We were only 2 doors down from his cell, from Cartoon's cell. So, and so here's the door. So, well, sorry, I jumped the gun. Before Magic did that, he got his thing, and we got state shoes. It's called state shoes, like gray state shoes that people can buy off a commissary. Or if you get work bags, like if you work, they'll give you one pair of shoes to last you forever. How long to pay off a portion of what they're paying you for working in the kitchen or the pod or whatever. So Magic ties up his shoes, and like I said, he looked at me and told me to not get involved again. And he walks me, pulls that thing, and sure enough, you see the door pop, and he runs out there, and you just hear Cartoon, what the fuck? And like, this is the most craziest thing I've ever seen in my life. This dude was so talented. He ran up and he like Superman punched this cat, and he hit him so hard the dude went stumbling back. At the same time, like it was crazy. He like did like a sweep kick, but like I said, like a standing lower leg kick, to where Cartoon like flew in the air, and at the same time he did that, he caught him, like, dude was like spinning like this in the air, and at the same time he kind of like a boom, boom, like boom, boom, like he caught him with like it was just crazy. He hit him, kicked his leg to where he's spinning, and then hit him twice more times. He was in the air, boom, boom. Dude gets on the floor, and he falls. When he falls, he like kind of falls, but rolls towards. He rolls under one of the tables, and in a second's notice, Magic was on him. Boom, 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 boom. He hit this dude so many times, so hard, so fast. It was such, like, dude was bleeding everywhere. But by this time, everything happened to where, and the camera, Roma had killed it to where it was down. It was no longer, it was down facing the picket. He killed the camera. So Magic is beating the hell out of Cartoon, beating him senseless. And the next thing you know, I'm standing there like, I'm still a fish. I'm still new. A fish is like a new guy. Still kind of, like, it kind of threw me off that. I was like, damn, Magic can handle his business. Like, wow. And Cartoon wasn't doing good at all. He looked like he was lost. He was drowning. And so he's beating him down. He's beating him. And then sure enough here, something, and I look towards that front door that I told you guys in the past, where you walk in, it's called a sally port. You got to go in there before you can get into the pod. Well, you can hear it, and here's the banging on the window. It was the other officer. It was the other officer trying to get in, and you see him get on his radio, picked up his radio off his chest, got on his radio and said something over the radio, and you can hear on Romo's radio, 1032, we got to fight, save two, we got to fight, save two, we got to fight. And sure enough, you see everybody. Romo comes out to make it seem like now, like he's a captain. He's Captain STG. So he turns around and he's up, and he's telling Magic, get off him. That's it. Mr. whatever. I don't say his last name. I'll respect him more than that. Mr. So and so, get off him. And Magic is on him. Boom, 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 boom. Grabbed him, and while he's on the floor, like, threw his knee up and knocked him in the face with his knee. And so this happens, and finally they come in and they maced Magic so bad, and they just kept macing him. He was on the floor just getting maced. I felt terrible for him, so they didn't notice. So I went running towards him where he was at, and I like hopped over his face to where the mace started hitting my back, and I said, "That's enough. He's down. He's done. He's done." And I was like, "He's good. He's done." And they kept me, "Get off him. Like, and they just kept macing. Well, finally they stopped, and they put him in handcuffs. They put me in handcuffs. Magic had broken his hand. He had broken his hand hitting this dude so many times. He had broken his hand, and I found that out because, like I said, they picked him up, they cuffed him up, they took him out, and because I said this pod was already the fighting pod, this was disciplinary unit, so they took him out. They took Cartoon out. Cartoon was battered. He was busted up. But that's just a story to tell, to let you guys know, mind your own business. Like, don't disrespect people. It's key to not look inside of a person's cell. It's key to never, ever, ever intentionally do something to somebody, especially you don't know what this other man is capable of. And that day, Cartoon could have lost his life. He was fighting with a professional fighter. So, y'all, that's another day down. That's another story from Captain, and this is Soldier of Christ, y'all. Get back with me. Tell me things. Give me something to if there's any questions, let me know what you want to know. Or look, I haven't always been a security officer. Clearly, I think you look at me and tell that I haven't always been a security officer. I was blessed by the grace of God to be able to turn my life around and get where I'm at now. Everything that I'm living, it's from first-hand experience. I'm telling you first-hand experience, and I'm trying to help guide you through stories that maybe you feel like somebody might need to know something that I'm saying, so you can help them not live the life I lived. I lived it so you don't have to. So like I said, I'm Captain, a soldier of Christ. Over and out. Later.